Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Who's Judging podcast. I'm your host, Connor, and today we have a very special guest, a serial vegan entrepreneur and 30 plus year vegan, the Mad Cookie Man, Rey Ortega. How are you doing today, Ray?
Hey, good, Connor. How's it going?
Pretty
Good to see
good.
you.
Yeah, a little early in the morning, but
Yeah,
you sent me those cookies, so I was like, we'll do any time.
right. I know. Why not? I think that's you got to have those cookies so you at least know what you're talking about. All of us,
Right?
you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
very good cookies.
Was it good? I was gonna say.
Yes,
I hope so. I'm good. I was
yes.
hoping so.
You're like, it's kind of my
You never know.
business,
Yeah, right. Well, I haven't had any complaints yet. So far, so to speak. But
right?
it could happen.
Good cookies are good business.
I know, man. Who doesn't like? But actually, I know people who don't like chocolate, which is strange. I've always thought that was weird. It's like, really? You don't like
I
chocolate?
know.
Who doesn't like chocolate? I don't know if you've run upon that before, but it's really strange.
Yeah, I have, but more for us.
I know, right? That's a good way to think of it.
Right. All right. A way I like starting all the episodes is just to share your personal vegan journey, what inspired or motivated you, and just how long it's been.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's been I'm going on 30 years right now. This year it'll be 2024, I believe, 30 years. And I really was just inspired by the fact that I was super unhealthy. I was super sick, and I had been sick for since I was a child. So I didn't know what to do or where to go. So I actually tried to fix myself, so to speak,
Uh,
and I just hit medical books. Believe it or not, I mean, I didn't really hit nutrition books or anything like that. I hit medical books because I wanted to know why my body was and my mind was doing what it was doing. I was sick all the time. Doctors kept trying to give me pills and give me the diagnosis of Addison's and Cushing's disease, and so I was in a really bad shape. I was about 295 pounds, and I think when I started my journey, which I didn't know I was going to be on this journey when I was 16, when I
oh,
stopped eating eggs. Yeah, I stopped eating eggs. And believe me, for a guy like me who's in the area that I lived at the time, it was a no-no to stop to be vegetarian. I mean, so I kind of had to hide the fact that I was not eating eggs anymore because it was embarrassing. I was embarrassed that I couldn't have the standard Mexican diet, I guess you could say, because I grew up
right.
in a pretty tough neighborhood and with a lot of family members who I'm pretty sure I'm the only vegan of about like 150 or 200 family members. So if
Wow.
that gives you any indication, I just found out the other day the whole United States has grown from when I was vegan, when I first started vegan in 1994, from 4%. Now it's 6%, a whopping
Wow.
6%. So I was like, oh, really, 6%? I thought it would be more than that by now.
Right.
But anyway, I stopped eating eggs and hidden eggs when I was 16, and it's because I was kept having constant headaches. I was having headaches, and I was go to the doctor, and they said, hey, you should take Advil. I said, okay, so take an Advil, but I was taking a lot of Advil, and so much that it stopped working. And
Wow.
then the doctor said, you have to switch to Tylenol and go back and forth. I was like, really? That's bizarre. Why? What the heck? So I started doing that, and then I was realized this got to be a better answer than just keep taking these drugs all the time. So I kept reading incrementally, a little bit at a time, these medical books, and I got some great medical books when my dad actually saw I was fascinated with medical books, and he bought me a set of medical books that described everything, the human body, the functions of it, what it did. So I immediately hit the books to the endocrine system, the digestive system, diseases. I had to know, like, oh my gosh, maybe there's something wrong with me, some
Uh,
disease. So that's why when I figured out, other than the fact that I was having, I don't know, two or three sausage muffins in the morning, and then I would have like those little powdered donuts for
of
lunch,
course.
and the school lunch is having McDonald's or Taco Bell, and then I would have, whatever I wanted for dinner. I was completely glutton. I was a glutton, and I would eat anything really, to be honest with you. But when I stopped eating eggs, I did see a change. I was really surprised on how the change. I was like, oh my gosh, my headache's going away.
Wow.
But the one interesting thing is, I didn't feel 100%. I still was not 100%. So so as I grew a little bit more, I was in denial. I'm not going to lie. I was in denial. I was because we don't want to give up meat. You don't want to
Right.
give up. Nobody wants to give it up. I don't know how long you've been vegan for, but the one thing I always hear, and I'm sure you hear it too, is I can't give up cheese. I
Yep.
don't want to give up cheese. I love cheese. I'm like,
Right.
okay. Well, I did too. You know what I mean? And I completely understand. And so as I neared my 20s, about 22, I think it was, I had stopped in between the ages of 18 to 22. I was becoming my worst. I was getting up to about 290, 280, 295 pounds was my maximum. And then I was getting sicker and sicker. And I just didn't. So I finally had to go back to the doctors, which I'm kind of glad I did. I'm glad I went to the doctors, and I'm glad I didn't go to the doctors, because the reason why is now I know what they're really after and what they really can't do for you. I know that. And what they're really educated on, which was, always a surprise. My doctor, who was a woman who I loved to death and I trusted, she said, you have I should mention, in the time that I was gaining all this weight, I had purple stretch marks on my arm, right here,
Mm.
and on my streaks on my belly. So she says, you have Addison's, Cushing's, or an adrenal gland tumor on your adrenal glands. I
Uh-huh.
was like, nah, I was in denial. Of course, I was like, you just can't believe these things are happening to you.
Right.
I was like, oh my gosh, you're kidding me. So I said, well, what's the solution to the? I had to know about the Cushing's and Addison's. I thought I just kind of like, okay, well, I didn't believe that, first of all, but I believed the tumor on my adrenal gland. I said, okay,
Mm.
I said, so what's the solution to the tumor on the adrenal gland? She says, well, we got to cut your back open, take out a rib, and
Wow.
and take the tumor off. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're kidding me. So that's right. That was the last time I saw my doctor, because I was like, they can't be right. There's no dang way. So I hit the books harder, and that really inspired me to be vegan. That was pretty much like, okay, as soon as I started reading more about it and getting the information that we all need to have. Everyone needs to do their own research. Don't depend on doctors. You should never depend on what a doctor says. I think you should take the information as an inspiration to figure out yourself what the problems are, because we as humans are we have some perfection in who we are, but it's our environment of the things that we consume, all the foods that we eat, have everything to do with the way we feel. So I had to figure out what the problem was. So after hitting the books and understanding that I needed to be vegan, I was mad. That's why I'm the mad cookie man, because I was absolutely, I think I was enraged with anger so much, because I felt so fooled by the world and the industry and how it all was took place. The drugs that they were trying to give me, the information that they were trying to pass off onto me, as if there was something wrong with me. And yeah, maybe I don't have a perfect immune system, and I do know why now. I think I attribute it to vaccines, believe it or not. I think vaccines, as a child, I was super sick when I got vaccinated as a child. And so I figured that probably had something to do with it, because my brother was fine. My brother, there's nothing wrong with my brother. My brother, in fact, he's 2 years older than me. He still, there's nothing wrong with this guy. He seems to be eating pizza all day. He still has no problem. But I would assume that it may catch up to him later, because I'm sure after my research, it all catches up to you. I don't care what
Yeah.
you do, it catches up to you. So that's what really inspired me to start being vegan, and that was in the process of me learning to bake vegan cookies. So when I learned vegan baking, I was in a transition. I was still in denial, and then I just found out in 1994, 93, 94, that I had to be vegan, and I was in denial. I was embarrassed to be vegan. I was embarrassed to be vegetarian. I did not want to be labeled. I was in because I have this family where we're having all these parties and meat eating things, and I just, maybe I'm lucky, I don't know, but I was eating everything that I would normally eat as a person, but I probably definitely have not the perfect immune system, but I had to work around it, if that
Yeah.
answers your question.
Yeah. So with going vegan for health, how long did it take you to kind of get the for the animal mindset as well with it?
That's interesting that you should ask. Well, there's a friend of mine, I always talk about her sometimes, Melinda Middlesworth. She used to hammer it. And so it took about 2 years. So
Wow.
I did not know of the videos. When I turned vegan, oddly enough, like the next day, subconsciously, something happened to me that changed everything, my perspective, my mind. I literally, the next weekend, had a yard sale and sold all my leather, anything to do with an animal product that I was wearing, jackets, shoes, belts, even my couches I sold. I put them all
Wow.
on the lawn. I was so pissed. I was like,
Hmm.
F this industry. I don't want nothing anything to do with this animal products. Nothing. But I didn't know really to the extent of how the animals were really just being abused to hell. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it took after it, believe it or not, even just being vegan, I was more concerned about of myself because I wanted to live. But
Right.
then when somebody started showing me these videos, which nobody wants to see the videos, nobody wants
Wow.
to see these animals. But you know what? I saw them and I learned. Wow, I was completely shocked. I definitely was desensitized, because you have to keep in mind that I grew up with of my grandmother slaughtering rabbits in the backyard and chickens too. So
Hmm.
I was desensitized to the violence of animals. I didn't care until it started. I had to go through a process to care. Which was I had to have freedom in my own mind and feel better. Then I could make a better decision, more decisions on how I'm going to deal with the rest of it, which I didn't even know existed. Now I know terribly how bad these animals are being treated. I mean, it's absolutely horrible. So
Definitely.
that answers the question. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, being vegan for 2 years just for health before you made the switch is impressive because it's hard when it's not for the animals because it's easier to make the excuse for like one cheat meal or something, you know?
People do it all the time. Oh, it's been 2 years for you? Well,
Oh, from
welcome.
I've
For
made
you?
it to 8. I was just saying your 2 year transition.
Oh, my. Oh, no, the transition. Yeah, well, see, I became vegetarian first. I think we all kind of do. And
Yeah.
then I lost about 60 pounds. And I thought, without lifting a finger, I didn't have to do anything. It just came off.
Wow.
And when I became realizing, okay, I'm starting to feel better. I need to be this
Hmm.
vegan. I didn't, that
Right.
word was so ugly. It's
Yeah.
such, at the time in 1994, 95, it was just an ugly word. I cannot tell you and express to you how much I was in denial and wanted to be this vegan because I just didn't want to be labeled. But
Right.
once you understand the entire process and the way that I was feeling, I became super proud of it. I came so proud of it. I wanted to tell everybody. I wanted to tell
Hmm.
the world. But guess what? The world doesn't want to hear. The
No.
world doesn't want to know what they're doing wrong. The world doesn't want their cheese taken away from them. They don't want their chicken taken away from them. And it's part of the problem. It's we're human. We're selfish by nature in some ways because this is what people do. They love and enjoy the fine foods of cheeses and all this delicacies of meats and stuff, which, I see it now 30 years later. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, you know, I get it. However, these people are ignorant. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that they can't learn or they can't understand or they can't figure it out. But I think we tend to turn a blind eye. We have to, and it's funny because your title is who's judging. Well,
Right.
I have to tell you something. Okay, the funny thing is when I know it probably with you too. When you walk into a room, everyone thinks you're judging them.
Yeah.
Everybody. They all become They all want to tell me I didn't eat any meat this week or yesterday, or my grandma didn't eat meat because they look at you as I don't know, they just completely your image changes
It
and their
does.
guilt comes out. But it's good. I think that when you make a presence, you are planting the seed, not even say anything. I don't even have to say anything. As soon as people find out who I am, then they come up to me. They have an excuse or two or 10. I'm going through a meeting friend right now who it's the cheese, man. The cheese is so addicting that they cannot stop the cheese,
Yeah,
you know?
crazy. But yeah, I'm hoping to break that stigma where everyone just automatically thinks we're judging.
Don't. Okay.
We could still judge every once in a while, but they don't have to think we are, you
Yeah,
know.
I know, but you know what? I think I'm owning it now because I'm like, yeah, I'm judging you. I'm
You've
judging you, man.
you've
I'm
turned the
judging you,
corner.
woman.
Hey,
I have the right now, man, after 30 years, okay? And having so many cookies, there's something to this whole situation.
well, see,
So
there
I
you
have
go.
to, yeah,
See, you have to earn the right to judge, though,
I
automatically.
think so. I think so. In this case, I'm taking it, man. I'll take it. I mean, don't please nobody judge me for being the judge. I don't want to
Right.
be judged.
Right. No, it's a one-way street.
Yeah, right. It's the one-way street until you learn, okay, our ways as vegans and our cult that
Yeah,
everyone says.
and then you can
Yeah.
judge too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can completely join us as our cult, our vegan cult. Because when I
Right.
first started being vegan, my family thought I was joining a cult. Everybody did. I was like, what? So in a way, they're judging me. Like, oh,
True.
you're joining what is this? This is strange. As well, but everyone knows what vegetarian is, but vegan,
Right.
it's a little bit extreme. So they judge you. My whole family judged me. I had the worst time. I was given the worst time. People were giving me the worst time every holiday. I'd come and see them. I don't really do it anymore with them because I got sick of people. Uh, I, I got sick of people just, I guess, judging me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I just didn't. The, it was just. I used to be the turkey cutter. I used to be the ham cutter. I used
Uh-huh.
to be, prepare all these meats. But then, when I stopped, they all freaked out, and there was
Yeah.
a lot of them too. You know,
Well, somehow you made it through all that and you're still here 30
I
years
didn't.
later.
I couldn't care, Connor. I had to stop caring. You kind of have to like, okay, well, you're this guy now. You're the guy too, Connor.
Yep.
You are that guy, and people are like, hey, who's judging? If people are judging you, Connor,
I
judge them
believe
back.
it.
That's what I say.
Yeah. We're a
You know what I
lot of
mean?
guys. We're the judging guy. We're the
We're the
token one
judging
too.
guy,
When I
right?
first went,
Oh
my
no, absolutely.
friend did not waste time telling everybody that I was vegan.
Oh, that's
I was the
funny.
vegan friend. Like I think in the
Oh,
first maybe 1 or 2 years, I think he told more people than I did.
oh. That's funny because it's like that meme that runs around that says if you want to know there's it says some you want to know if someone's vegan, they'll tell you. You don't have to
Oh,
worry, they'll
right.
tell you. Yeah,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
it's true. Yeah, and
You
it
know,
comes out because wherever you go, somebody's handing you a piece of meat or some cupcake with eggs in it or frosting or dairy. Like, I hate to tell you, I actually kind of stopped telling people because it's strange because now that I'm thinking about your judging topic they do judge us, but
hmm
we judge them right back, only in the righteous way. We are the righteous judgers. We can, because when you think about it, we're not harming anything. We have no harm, no foul on our lifestyle. Yes, sure, I'm driving, I hit some bugs. Okay, I
Right.
may step on some bugs or whatever, but you have to the full animal circuit, the nervous system and their awareness it's become something for me. So when I go out to people, I really don't tell them the story of how animals are treated. I tell them, look, do you like your colon and do you like your health? Do you like the way your
Yeah.
body functions? Do you want to sleep better? Do you want your skin to be better? You know, I always
Yeah.
kind of take that angle because it's been a process of learning what people don't want to hear. They don't want to hear nobody wants to hear about an animal getting slaughtered, but they'll want to hear about why they have a stomach ache, I
It's true.
guarantee you.
Yeah.
A lot of women stomach aches. A lot of men too.
Yeah.
I can't get my dad to stop for the life of him, but that's okay. My
Yeah.
dad's like 330 pounds. He's huge, but he doesn't listen to me. And your parents never listen to you. I don't know if you knew that or not. Your parents
No.
never listen to you.
No.
What are you going to do?
Right. Everybody wants their convenience. That's their number one thing.
Uh, yes, the one convenient. It's funny you should say that because I was just thinking to myself how convenient the string cheese is and that little. You
Yeah.
tear that little. How convenient! It's so delicious, but it's so
And
bad. It's so
and
bad.
fun too. It's fun just
It is
pulling the
fun.
strings off.
I know. I think of those little meals you get, those little craft meals. I'm like, oh my gosh, those are so cute and so fun, but you can't have them, you
Nope.
know?
So what happened for you to go from vegan to vegan entrepreneur? How did that process happen?
Well, the simple fact that when I started, when I was 16, like I said, I stopped eating eggs. It came with having to stop hidden eggs. So I had to come to the realization eggs wasn't just eggs. It was in cakes and cookies and muffins and everything. It was in bread. It was in. I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. I have to give up all this stuff. I didn't want to give up all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay. So when I got to the age when I found this vegan cookie at a Sacramento Natural Foods Co-op, then I was like, oh my! I was blown away that it was a soft vegan cookie. I was so much blown away that I had to get a job there to learn how to do it. So I was just going to get a job because Iraq or the Iraqi war was over.
Mhm.
I sold all my equipment. I'd taken a year off. Saved enough money to take some time off. Sold all my equipment. Construction was going to hell. I was a drywall contractor.
Okay.
It was going to hell. And then I was like, I'm gonna take a break, but I was running out of money. I had got a job, and at the same time, it served a purpose. A friend of mine helped me get a job at the co-op. So I learned how to vegan bake through another friend of mine who worked there. And so then, not really thinking I was going to open a business, but I
Uh,
was so convinced. And so this cookie was so much the same as so much like a Toll House cookie. It was, it wasn't commercialized though. The problem was it was only lasted a week or a few days. It was,
oh, okay.
you had to bake them and then you had to bake them and then that was the end of them in 3 days because they just went hard fast. So I really had to self teach myself how to commercialize things. So I think I worked there for 9 months. I started my first business, alternative baking company. Have you heard of alternative baking company before?
No, not before I read about you.
Are you from Canada? Where are you from?
From San Diego.
Oh, San Diego. So you've never had an alternative baking company cookie?
Not off the
You
top of
never
my
heard?
head, no.
Good. Good. And good, yes, and bad and good. Okay. And the reason why I
Okay.
say that is because I'm no longer I don't own the business anymore. And I'd prefer the guy I was in the business. We were doing almost 1 million in sales in within the first 3 years. Then I found out this guy's ethics was eating fish and chicken still, and
Oh,
he's lying to me about his vegan ethics and what he was bringing to the table. It was really pissing me off.
uh-huh.
So I was like I couldn't get along with the guys. After that, I just like I was so set on being vegan. I was like I don't want any more people around me who are like this. So I left. And I just pretty much just gave up the company. I was like, forget it. I'm done. I'm going to go open up another company on my own terms. And so that's when I started Sunflower, Flour, like the baking flour.
Uh-huh.
And I literally had to start over. But I was like, this is, it was like riding a bike for me the second time, especially. I was like, oh, I got this. This is easy. I just had to find a place and I borrowed 50,000 from a friend. And then I got an SBA loan few years later for 300,000, but I started an alternative baking company with less than $5,000. So I was
Wow.
happy to start a vegan cooking company, and when there was only like one soy milk,
Right.
and I was surviving off of top ramen, oatmeal, and bread when I first became vegan. So I was kind of I was at the time when I became vegan, I was starving for these cookies. So I went all out. I went all out on that year. I was like, I'm going all out. I don't care if I fail or succeed.
Hmm.
Everyone's gonna gotta try this cookie because I commercialized it, changed the shelf life to last a year.
Wow.
I didn't even know it was a year. I didn't know it was simply by accident. because it was testing after testing after testing. But I didn't care because the funny thing was I was selling them so fast and they never stood around for more than a week. I was selling them. I was doing 800 a week. Then it turned into 1,000 a week. Then 3,000. Then five. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this by myself because I was working from 9 at night to 6 in the morning, and it was killing me. I was like, this is just too much. But I knew that I don't know if you've ever worked the night shift before, but it is grueling. It was
It
very
is.
hard to do. And I only slept 2 or 3 hours at the time, but I always remember thinking, this is not going to be forever. It's not going to be forever. But it ended up being that I found an investor. That's who I found. And that's the guy who couldn't get along with the whole giant bake company. And then I had a couple in partners, and I regret having partners. I think most people like myself who have my type of personality who you shouldn't get partners. You just have, because they really rode my coattails, and I was, because I had put everything, my passion was 100% into this whole thing, and I was like, I'm doing this, succeed or fail, I don't care, I just need people to try these cookies. That's all I wanted. I just
Right.
wanted a freaking cookie, man. That's really why I did it. I did gain some weight back, like 20 or 30 pounds from eating so many cookies, and I always tell people this, but you won't know anyone who's eaten more cookies than me, Connor.
You
No
have to
one.
test them.
I
You had
I
to.
have daily. I had 7 years of cookies, not eating cookies, to make up for it. You know what I mean? I
Exactly.
spent
Yeah.
7 years. So I calculated I was eating about 750 cookies a year.
Wow.
So yeah, I was eating. So that's when I changed. I was doing wheat, and then I was like, ah, man, this is killing my digestive system because I was eating so many of them. That's when I came up with I was changed to gluten-free pencil bean flour for a while, and now I'm doing. Before oat flour was technically gluten-free,
Oh.
I changed to and I've been through a process. It's been an evolution of this cookies that I make, and I do make stuff for other people too. And I'm glad that I do. But I've just been cruising, with this business. I was doing before 9/11. I was doing about 1 million cookies a year with the airlines, and then the 9/11 killed that. So that's kind of that story in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been fun. You know what I love about this most? Meeting people like yourself, because
Yeah, and
this
it's
this
fun.
it did Connor. It didn't exist, man. You don't understand how lonely it was when in 1994, being by yourself, um, and thinking, gosh, how can this be that I'm the minority in this vegetarian or vegan thing? Because I thought, why aren't more people this way? If you know that that's the answer of the problems that you're having with your body and your mind, why wouldn't more people join up, sign up? But I know
Right.
now why. I know now why. It's freaking addicting. This stuff is addicting.
Yes, it is. All right. So when I tried your cookies, my mom loves baking vegan as well. So my
Oh,
question is,
good.
we were looking at the ingredients. What is your like egg substitute?
Well, that is actually also evolved. I um I used to use this stuff called egg replacer,
Mhm.
energy foods egg replacer, and then to clean up the cookie, it's evolved into taking that out, which was ended up being a starch. So really, just the science of it, which I love and learned so much over time, is basically it's. I'm gonna have to kill you if I tell you, Connor, and your
All
mom
right.
too. Just say that. But basically, I'm just kidding for anybody who's listening. But basically, it's just the blending. It's the method that I use. It's the
Okay.
method and ingredients that I use. There is one patented sugar that I use, uh, but it's basically the method between the oils and there's some starches in there. There's some gums in there, a little bit of gums, and it's just really more or less become the method more than it has become the
Got
ingredient,
it.
because I've taken some all of what I know, and then I said, okay, I know this method works. Let's try it without egg replacer. So because I wanted to take the starches out, and so but you can use energy foods the egg replacer, and it works pretty good, you
Right.
know. So is this because you want to make them at home? You're trying to tell your mom listening? She shouldn't be listening because she's going to
She'll be
steal my
listening
ideas.
later. Yeah, you're gonna see
Yeah, okay.
another company pop right up. We'll make it like Sunflower Baking LLC. We'll take the
Yeah.
LLC.
Yeah, you take it out. Go ahead. Yeah. I
Yeah.
always actually I welcome people. I was like, go ahead. You think you can make a better cookie? Knock yourself out. Okay.
Right. You think you can beat
I
the Mad
welcome it.
Cookie Man?
Yeah, there's no damn not man. You got a lot of work to do. Okay. Between the two companies, I've made billions of cookies. It's like, no, it's hard to compete. There is competition. There's a lot more competition out there than ever. When I first started, there was maybe one other. The no cookie, I think, was prominent, and then but that's it. But right now, I welcome people. I said, please, I'm actually looking to go into other countries, and I'm trying to raise
Wow.
some capital to build. I'd like to build the biggest baking facility or food facility in the United States. I'm looking to raise capital. I've made a pitch deck and a business plan that I'm just started sending out recently. And I just reached out to the UK to see if they
Hmm.
would want to invest into having the UK's the thing. I used to be mad at the
Yeah.
UK. I'd see articles. UK has everything. I don't know who the hell is in UK, but
Right.
there's a lot of I'm like, what? Oh, Kentucky Fried Chicken, A&W, all these big corporations or whatever, they're coming out with this whole new thing, a vegan. I see the article and you read the top and you go, oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the UK. Ah, man, it's the
E-
UK. It's like,
Every
it's not
time they
even
get
here.
everything.
Sickening. So I
McDonald's
finally
Beyond
said,
Burger.
yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. So I finally decided if I can't beat him, joining him. So that's what I'm going to do.
Right. Why not?
Can't hurt. Can't hurt to try.
Yeah. But yeah, my mom, I think she uses like aquafaba and applesauce
Oh,
a lot.
right.
So
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
like looking at the ingredients and she was like, I can't pick out what he's using.
I know. It's a
So,
secret.
right. So it was a listener that put in a question for that one.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, let's find them and we'll have to kill them
Right.
if they read the ingredients. What is that guy? What's his name? The Liam Neeson, that
Oh,
one thing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
No,
will
that's
find you.
okay. Yeah, I will find you. Yeah, you listening to me? That's it. So no, that's really it's more or less the process now. It's a trade secret process that I can't tell you.
That's
But I can
awesome.
tell you all the ingredients are there that you can
Right?
try your best. Okay.
It's like the
I'm not
Krabby
stupid.
Patty. You got a secret ingredient.
Yeah. The crappy bag. I'm not sure if we want to go there with that because that might be gross. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like some of these ingredients, even like, growing into this business, learning that, there was vanilla made with beaver anus was very disturbing to me.
Yeah. But
I had to learn all these vegan, what was vegan. I was shocked to hear C&H Sugar was filtering their refined sugar with cow bones. It was
yeah.
cow bones.
Yeah.
They're filtered. I was like, what? Really? I was like,
It's
that's disgusting.
it's insane how much stuff
It
is
is
not
insane.
vegan that you would never think
Gelatin,
of.
man. I was just I learned all this in my studying food chemistry on my own with trying to make the cookie solid. I had to make, you
Mm.
have to understand, I had to make it last long to be and to a certain texture. I was looking for a certain texture. Now I have somebody who works for me who's absolutely wonderful. She's learned everything that I've learned, and I've taught her everything. And then she's learned on her own. And now I think what we do is even better than I've ever done. I've
Yeah.
tasted my old cookies, and they don't even taste the same. They don't taste the same. They're not
Wow.
as good as what I make now. Yeah,
Well, it's great to
to
be
say the least.
continually improving.
Got to improve. I've got so many more ideas that I'm going to pull out for vegan stuff. It's insane. I will never go back. I'm so passionate about this. You will never see me ever. It's like putting poison in food. If you ask me, if I make something and there's an egg and dairy, it wasn't me. If something ever thinks that I've made, it was never me. I would never intentionally put poison in my food.
Yeah,
And in my mind, it's food. It's
there's
poison to
no
me.
going back.
There's no
Yeah.
going back. This is it. 30 years. I probably won't be going back.
Yeah. All right. So out of the ones that I've tried so far, the
Yeah.
Snickerdoodle was definitely the best. So
Oh yeah.
I'm curious what your favorite is.
Well, my favorite is always chocolate chip, man. I'm sorry,
Chocolate
but it
chip.
is. Yeah, it's just the interesting thing about that is the only difference between the snickerdoodle and the chocolate chip are the chocolate chips and the cinnamon. It's the exact
Mm.
same base. exact same base. But the
Wow.
chocolate chip is always, you know what? I'll eat a full chocolate chip. I'm on an intermittent fasting right now, and believe me, I see them all day, and it just about makes me mad. Oh man, I want these cookies so bad. I want them so. I'm telling you, people always think, "Hey, you get sick of these?" No, I don't get sick of
Right.
them, and that's a problem. You
Right.
know what I mean? I make them; they're so good. It's a problem.
Right.
So,
That
and
might be the most impressive thing you told me today. How do you fast while making cookies? I feel like that's impossible.
this I just made a batch to test some equipment yesterday, and they're like mini cookies. And just this morning, I came in and I was like, "Ooh, they're just a little bit." I'm trying to rationalize eating a little bit even on a fast. I'm like, I can't do it. So it's like, you have to get. I think my spirit and my body are we're intertwined. But my spirit says, don't do it. But my body says, yeah, you should have two or three or four or five of those suckers, man, because they're little and they're like half an ounce. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish so bad I could eat them. I shouldn't be talking about it because it's going to
Right.
start to. I'm going to get weak.
Right. Well, at
I
least
get weak.
I believe it. You're around cookies
Yeah, it's
all the
not easy,
time.
man. It's not easy. It's harder than it looks. Trust me.
Oh, I believe it. But you see, 30 years as a vegan, you've built your discipline on knowing I want to eat this, but I can't. So you've gone through that.
Yes. It's well, just I think the fact that when if anybody can stop eating meat and dairy, I think I almost remember the first week or two or three, I think even days, thinking, okay, I made it a couple of days.
Mhm.
Okay, and made it a week. And then I think it just was natural. Then you start to find other and I think one of the keys to being vegan is getting full as fast as you can.
Mhm.
And don't eat, drink water so you can curb your because I think I get hangry, I get I get I get a little moody when I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I would just go. I remember going to before I was a vegan, going to places like Kentucky Fried Chicken, starving. I was like thinking I was starving. I would just order a shit ton of stuff. It's just like gravy and the biscuits because I was hungry. Then I realized, okay, I had a problem. I'm a food addict, and I have to control myself. And believe me, not eating meat as much as I used to eat meat was a big change for me, and spiritually too.
Believe that. So the next thing I want to talk about is your company's support organizations like Farm Sanctuary, ASPCA, and In Defense of Animals. So I was just more curious on how you chose those and what they mean to you.
Oh, geez, I'll tell you. You know what's funny is before I was, before I understood when I first became vegan, I should say actually, I think one of my first organizations and my dear friend Gene Bauer from Farm Sanctuary, who I absolutely adore and love. I've known him for I don't know 20 years maybe now. I
Wow.
I he's was my first. I fell in love with that guy and his organization, Lori too at the time. It was just like I couldn't believe it. I was like, there's people out there trying to save these animals. That's weird. To me, it was weird.
Right.
And I was like, this is incredible. I was like, I had to take a couple steps back and try to comprehend on why people cared so much that they are raising money to save these animals. And it's probably true that I'm inside me. I have it embedded in me, and I don't think there's anything I can do about it. That I still have some insensitivity to it. I'm still, and so I find I'm so insensitive. I have so disinsense. What's the word that I want to use? I'm so, that I can still watch these videos cleanly and,
Oh,
I start to hear and I see the torture, but I go through the whole process only so I need myself to be reminded of what it is that's going on because the sadness and the anger fuels me to want to go even further and go and teach more people. So when I intentionally start to watch the process, and interestingly enough, the business that I'm in, I use two types of equipment that are meat products. One is a hamburger maker, and another one is a sausage stuffer.
Wow.
Well, the interesting thing about it is that as I've over the years I've searched for equipment. You can't help but they show you the processes of how these machines work, and it's a very gory and bloody thing. You're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this is horrible. So it's like, not only am I seeing it for myself as like, oh, I want to see it, I need to see it so I can understand it. And because I'm even looking at these people, and when they're slaughtering them, I'm trying to look at their face and their
Right.
reaction, and I'm thinking, I was just, in fact, I just watched Rocky. I hadn't seen Rocky one, I think, in, I don't know, 30 years.
Right.
There was a scene where he was in a meat. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but
Hmm.
he was in a
Hmm.
meat packing plant. But there's blood and crap and meat all over the floor. He was scraping it, and then I realized, how do these people? It smells. It says, oh, it smells in here. I'm like, I don't know how these people. And I hear that it's one of the shorter jobs. People just don't like to be there. It has a short shelf life for a job or whatever it is. So anyway, so I think that my beginning love for organizations was first with Gene and Farm Sanctuary, when I just became an awe. When I So it was like a flip side of the torture and everything else that was going on. Well, the flip side is that there's people actually trying to save these animals. And I was
Right.
like, wow. But the interesting part about it is, sure, how many we have, millions getting killed every day. And here these people are trying to save one or two or three animals. Then they end up being a farm. I'm thinking, you have to understand that it's like, what sense does it make to save a few animals?
Hmm.
Well, I know now why. And the reason
Right.
why is because you got to be aware. It's making people aware that life is more precious, and you need to have some respect for these animals and what they do and what they're for. We can get into this a lot longer, believe it or not, and go back as far as the Bible and how it reads. I just, one of the things when I became vegan, I was like, is there a book out there that will tell me that we are created in a certain way? And the Bible has Genesis, and it does say that we're designed raw vegan. And
Hmm.
you can look it up yourself. And I think it's Genesis 1:22. I think it is.
Genesis 1:29-30. New International Version. 29. Then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. 30. And to all the beasts of the earth and all the birds in the sky and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has the breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food. And it was so.
And so I started giving out cookies, like, to like insanity, to these organizations.
Uh-huh.
So then one becomes another. All the organizations. Then it's like there's a ton of them. There's a lot. There's not probably still not enough, but there's a lot that I would love to support all of them, and it's become difficult at times because I can't keep track of them all. And I have to know the ones for myself, as little as they can be and as big as they can be. There's only I'm only so big as a company, and this is another reason why I want to raise more money and be able to spend more money on giving out whatever I need to give to these people so they can keep going, because they bring awareness. Because they
Right.
bring awareness. Because you have to remember, you question why these people care so much for a chicken that's running around in the streets of LA. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, so why do these people care? Or why is this cow wanting to get away? Why is this pig want to jump out of the back of a truck? Well, there's a reason. It's because
Right.
it wants to live. It wants to live too. So those are the things. Like I said, I've become insensitized to the whole thing, but for the most part, it's I understand now. So, and I think the
Right.
understanding, when you have a full understanding, the spectrum of understanding is important. I don't know if you what you did it for, but I just did a podcast yesterday.
Huh.
They told me it was Karina, I think it was, and said to me, "I did it for the animals," and I'm thinking, that's weird. To me, that was weird, because I'm here wanting to save my own ass.
Uh-huh.
And I'm thinking, why would people care about these animals? Because that's how I grew up. I grew up brainwashed.
We
And
all did.
and it's like, I believe it or not, look how I'm 56. How old are you? 30,
23.
32 or something? 23. Oh my gosh, shit, you're just a baby. Gosh, I was vegan before you were
Yeah.
still your dad, I think.
Yeah.
so so you have to think that even at your age, you are still being brainwashed, man. You know what I mean? I mean, look at the differences in time. You are, they're still doing the same thing today. Even
Yeah.
I have a child; she's 14 years old, and I have tried so hard to keep that shit away from her. But it's like she's got some peer pressure.
Yeah.
She's never eaten anything, no meat or anything. But I am trying to teach her. I take her to the organizations. I take her to the turkey thingies, the turkey feeds. I try to take her wherever I can to these things. So now the funny thing is, is it reverse brainwashing?
Mm.
I don't know. You know what I mean? But I'm trying not to. One thing I'm trying not to do is teach her to be too judgmental, because
Right.
but the kids kind of are and they aren't. The
Mhm.
kids are very honest, but I think for the most part, if you teach them balance, like I'm sure somehow you learned to do this. Somehow you became aware of it. I don't know who inspired you. I had to inspire myself. Who
Yeah.
inspired you?
I think I kind of went around the same type of thing you did. I kind of felt the connection, and then I started following some of the pages, and you can't
Yeah.
unsee what you see.
No,
You can't.
no. And yeah, and it's just one of those things where if you have to, the funny thing is, you have to come to terms in the realization of the truth. If you don't come to the realization of the truth, you're guilty. And
Hmm.
I'm not judging you, but if you know that this shit is happening, damn you, man. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
really, I mean, and I've tried to always be gentle about the processes, but I go back and I say, sure, they're cutting up the cow, they're doing all the stuff, but you have to understand the process of from which all the shit that gets on the food goes into your stomach. And so I always try to press, don't eat meat because it's bad for you. So I don't, and then I say later on, hey, to look at the process. I really want people to look at the process themselves. Because I don't want to tell them the bad news. I'm already
Right.
giving people bad news, but damn it, I'm trying to do something positive, which is put a cookie in their mouth and say, guess what? This doesn't have any eggs. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. We just need
That's my
to
job.
set the spark, and they have to go ignite the flame, I think.
That's right. That's right. Oh, I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
But yes, just
V.
on. You go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say. I just learned. I came up with a thing yesterday. People who are V curious.
Mm.
So there are people out there that are curious, but it's the only, you put the idea in their mind, you spark interest for a minute, but sometimes you go back the next day. Oh, it's a process. I've got more stuff in my fridge, but at least you have planted the seed. You know what I mean? I think that's important.
Right. And I get what you're saying about desensitized and everything too, because see, this is one of my wallpapers that I use, and it's kind of sad, but I use it as like motivation every once in a while. It's just like you see it and it just reignites your own flame, and motivation is there.
Oh, I know. That's why people were like, why do you watch those? I'm like, you know, I got to be reminded in how pissed I was and how mad it makes me
Yeah.
that I was so fooled that this was going on. And then they were trying to put this shit in your body. Huh. I mean, it's so disgusting. I don't know if you've seen fully processing of animals, but it is so dirty. I have been in the houses, slaughterhouses, and it is to look at equipment.
Uh-huh.
It's A1 smelly and disgusting beyond. It smells like death. You know what I mean? So you have to
Yeah.
remember, I always tell people, hey, you eat death, you're going to die sooner. You know what I mean? That's what I
Well,
say.
I think it's a
That's my 2 cents.
solid frame there.
Yeah. I
All
hope
right.
you learned something. You 23-year-old guy.
Yeah, I
Jeez,
gotta
you're young.
keep
That's
going.
good. I envy that.
Yeah.
I became vegan when I was your age, basically. So there you go.
Yeah, it's a
You'll be
good
my age
time.
one day, Connor. Yeah, yeah. You'll be my age one day.
Yeah,
You'll
and
be
then
as
I'll be.
crazy as me, too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'll
yeah,
be
you mean.
talking to the new person, the 23-year-old vegan.
That's oh, you're right. Someday,
Just
exactly.
keep knocking the dominoes.
Why not? Got to inspire people too, you know.
Yeah. So with founding multiple successful vegan businesses, I'm curious on what kind of advice you would have for somebody looking to do the same.
I'm always telling people to find something that you absolutely positively love. Don't do anything half-ass. Do something, not only just do something that you love, but you got to do the research on where the origins of the products or the materials or that where it comes from to be legitimately a vegan product. Because I'm telling you, you can easily be fooled. I was fooled by sugars. I didn't know that CNA sugar was doing that bone char.
Yeah.
So the anise, the beaver anus for vanilla. I mean, come on. So you have to do your research, be passionate. The number one thing is to be passionate. Understand you may fail or you may succeed, but you have to give yourself that chance and don't give up. Really, I mean, you got to keep trying. If you believe enough in something, you're not going to stop. I believe that solely now as you know, as a 30-year vegan.
That's awesome. And then also, what were the biggest lessons that you learned throughout the process as well that maybe other people could avoid if possible?
I would say, you know, a couple of lessons is don't listen to anybody what they try to tell you when they tell you not to do something. Like I remember when I first started, people were saying, "Don't put vegan on the package." I mean, I'm talking about literally the first year I was in business. Don't put vegan in the package. I was like,
Wow.
you know, actually, I questioned myself for a second. I remember thinking, I do want to sell. Will it scare people away? You know, then I said, you know what?
Hmm.
F that, man. I said, I'm going to just do it anyway. I didn't care. So you have to almost not care what people think because you have a vision. Hold to your vision. Don't listen to what others say. If they're right, it'll come out in the end. If they're wrong, you'll be in better place.
That's definitely good. Yeah, you have to just stick with what you are passionate about and not let other
Right?
people knock it down.
Correct. All day.
All right. So since we've been talking about these cookies a lot, how about you tell everybody where they can get these cookies?
Well, you can get them on Amazon, and my website was just sunflower baking, FLOUR baking.com, sunflowerbaking.com. I spell it like a baking flour, and there was a reason why I did that. And I just started a website. It's called the startaveganbusiness.com because I want to help and inspire people to do so. And because I have so much information and so many resources now, it's like if somebody hired me to do something, you'll save money by me helping you. And I consult a lot. I consult with people all the time, and they come to me because I am the vegan somewhat guru and some of ingredients and materials, and I know where to get everything now. You know, it's even though there's new stuff coming out all the time, I'm envious of things like leather, pineapple leather. I love that. So you have to understand it's a different time. So startaveganbusiness.com, you can go there. You can see all the information about me and a little bit of what I've done in my website is actually on there. My sunflower baking company to buy cookies is on there as well.
Awesome. I'll definitely link all that stuff because that's a lot of great resources for people. And of course, there's not a better way to read through that website than with a sunflower baking cookie in your hand.
I don't do that, Connor. Where is that? Your mom eat them all?
I got a
I'm gonna
couple
send you
left
more.
over.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe I'll send you more. Send some of your mom. You
That'd
can
be
try to
awesome.
replicate it. Your mom's gonna try to reverse engineer my
Yeah,
stuff.
we're gonna pick them apart. We're gonna figure it
It's
out.
totally okay. It's totally okay. I'm encouraging it. Give me a break now.
Awesome. And then so you can get on to your next interview, is there just any last message you want to put out to the listeners?
Yes, just you got to stick. You know what? Stick to your passion is my thing. Don't stay focused. Be smart about your decisions. Be wise about the things that you choose in your diet, and you know that will help your mind because your mind will become clearer when you change your diet to a vegan plant-based diet. It will help you make. It will help you. The stress will come off like nothing. You can deal with things better. It's just a superior. Not that I'm judging other people, but it's a superior a way of living. That
I
would be my advice.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Well, it was nice having you on the show, and I hope we keep in contact.
Anytime, Connor.